Good day, class. Today in JSS 2 Social Studies we are studying climate change, its causes and its specific effects on Nigeria. Climate change is one of the defining challenges of the 21st century, and Africa, despite contributing least to the problem, is expected to suffer its effects most severely. Climate is the average weather conditions of a place over a long period, typically 30 years or more. When we talk about weather, we mean short-term atmospheric conditions on a particular day. Climate is the long-term pattern. Climate change refers to significant and long-term changes in global or regional climate patterns, particularly the rise in global average temperatures, called global warming, that has been occurring since the mid-20th century. The greenhouse effect is the natural process by which certain gases in the atmosphere, called greenhouse gases, trap heat from the sun, keeping the earth warm enough to support life. Without the greenhouse effect, the earth would be too cold. However, human activities have dramatically increased the concentration of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, strengthening the greenhouse effect and causing the earth to warm beyond natural levels. Greenhouse gases include carbon dioxide, CO2, released by burning fossil fuels, coal, oil, gas, and deforestation, methane, CH4, released by livestock farming, rice paddies, and landfills, nitrous oxide, N2O, released by fertilizers and industrial processes, and various industrial gases. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, is the international scientific body that assesses climate change science. The IPCC has concluded with overwhelming confidence that the planet is warming due to human activities, and that serious consequences will follow if greenhouse gas emissions are not dramatically reduced. Causes of climate change. The primary cause of current climate change is the burning of fossil fuels, coal, oil, and natural gas, for energy, transportation, and industry. This releases CO2 that has been stored underground for millions of years. Deforestation removes trees that would otherwise absorb CO2. Industrial agriculture, especially cattle farming, produces large quantities of methane. Industrial processes release CO2 and other greenhouse gases. Nigeria's role. Nigeria is a significant emitter of greenhouse gases, primarily through its oil industry, gas flaring. The burning of natural gas associated with oil production has historically been a major source, deforestation, and the burning of fossil fuels for electricity and transportation. Gas flaring in the Niger Delta has been recognized as one of the world's worst practices, wasting a valuable resource while polluting the air and contributing to greenhouse gas emissions. Nigeria has committed to reducing gas flaring, but enforcement has been slow. Effects of climate change on Nigeria. Desertification in the north. Climate change is accelerating the advance of the Sahara Desert southward into northern Nigeria, a process called desertification. The Lake Chad, which borders northeastern Nigeria, has shrunk by approximately 90% over the past 50 years due to reduced rainfall and increased evaporation driven partly by climate change. Communities that once lived by Lake Chad for fishing and farming have been displaced, contributing to poverty, food insecurity, and conflicts, which some analysts connect to the rise of Boko Haram in the northeast. Coastal flooding and sea level rise. Nigeria has an extensive coastline, and many coastal communities, including parts of Lagos, Port Harcourt, Calabar, and the Niger Delta communities, are at risk from sea level rise. As global temperatures rise, polar ice melts and ocean water expands, raising sea levels. Low-lying areas will be flooded. Some coastal islands in the Niger Delta are already experiencing flooding. Approximately 25 million Nigerians live within 100 kilometers of the coast and are vulnerable. Extreme weather events. Climate change is associated with more frequent and intense extreme weather events. In Nigeria, this includes more intense flooding, and the devastating floods hit Kogi, Anambra, Benue, and other states repeatedly, more severe droughts in the north, and more intense heat waves. The 2022 Nigeria floods were described as the worst in a decade, displacing hundreds of thousands of people. Food security. Changes in rainfall patterns, increased drought, flooding of farmland, and higher temperatures threaten Nigeria's agricultural production. Crops like yam, cassava, and maize are sensitive to temperature and rainfall changes. Food insecurity will increase as climate change intensifies. Health impacts. Higher temperatures expand the range of malaria-carrying mosquitoes to higher altitudes and formerly cooler areas. Heat stress affects workers outdoors and the elderly. Air pollution from more frequent forest fires and dust storms harms respiratory health. Nigeria's response to climate change. Nigeria signed the Paris Agreement on Climate Change in 2016, committing to reduce its greenhouse gas emissions and adapt to climate impacts. Nigeria's nationally determined contribution commits to reducing emissions from gas flaring and electricity generation. Nigeria has a national climate change action plan. However, implementing these commitments while also developing economically remains a significant challenge. As young Nigerians, you will live through the consequences of climate decisions being made today. Understanding climate change empowers you to make informed choices and advocate for policies that protect Nigeria's environment for future generations.